Welcome to the first episode of Master Noters. All right, I'm gonna your co-host on this episode, Coach Cryptos, and I got my other host here, Clone Tech. Clone Tech, how you doing, man?
Doing all right. How about you?
I'm doing good, man. Well, this is our first time kind of been on camera here, and so it's a little different than the podcast and all that kind of stuff. So this should be a fun episode. This is Master Noters, kind of like I mentioned there a second ago. And what we're gonna do on Master Noters is we're gonna mix in our love of sports. That's kind of how we me and Clone Tech have known each other here for about probably 6 months in the crypto space, and have talked about everything from crypto to X's and O's, and came kind of talked some smack about some different college football games and all that good stuff. And we had this silly idea that we were going to hold a draft and draft our favorite master nodes and basically see how well we can manage them and turn a little bit of change into a lot of change. And hopefully that's the plan. We'll see how that turns out. But Conte, you kind of want to talk about the rules and the details of our master noters draft?
Yes. So I guess I would start off by saying that Coach is a football guy, and he's going to try to rack up points. And I was more of a golfer back in my modest athletic days, so I'm going to try to get as far under par and try to lower my score, and we'll see how that works out. But yeah, we've kicked around rules over the last few weeks to try to figure out how to make this work. And it's going to somewhat work like a professional sports draft. We each have $100 in like our salary cap, and targeting around 5 rounds of picking coins that we're then after hours, like this evening, going to acquire and then start setting up nodes. So probably around 5 rounds, but we may run out of salary cap before or after 5 rounds. We'll see how that goes. Do we have a time frame? Are we going to run for 2 months and then tally up and see where we're at?
Yeah, I thought we kind of run to the end of this fiscal year.
Okay. Yeah.
Or end of the regular year, I guess, calendar year.
Yeah, sounds good. In terms of the draft, there's kind of a free agency thing as well. So we're going to end up with 4 or 5 coins each on our roster. And once the draft is done, then everything else is fair game. So I jokingly call Coach Midas pretty regularly. Pretty much whatever he drafts is going to double or triple tonight. And then he may have some extra funds to sell off and pick up some free agents to kind of add to the pool there. Yeah, and I guess this is a little bit of the nitty-gritty thing, but if I draft 5 things, I don't have to set up 5 nodes. I could set up 3 depending on where pricing is at and whatnot. I could set up all 5, or I could set up 3 nodes of 1 coin that's on my roster. That's kind of the equivalent to playing time in our kind of running football analogy here. And then I guess the one last detail is that we are trying to make this as kind of real life of it's not really even a simulation because we're using actual crypto to buy actual nodes and set them up. So the cost of VPS is coming out of our total at the end. So we're figuring around $5 per server per month for that. Did I miss any of the details there?
Yeah, and so I think that kind of covers it for the most part. Just a couple disclaimers to as we roll into this, just so anybody like watching this to learn a little bit more about noding. We're definitely not experts, but we've spent a lot of time kind of exploring master nodes, and we feel like we found some good solutions. We'll see if they're foolproof or not. But just to throw that out there, when we do our draft for a particular node, it's going to kind of be based off the price that you see at that point. And make sure you take into account if you're going to buy a master node, there's going to be slippage, meaning it might show on master nodes online or any of those websites that the master node worth is $15. Well, the reality of it is that the volume is not completely where it needs to be. That can cost you up to 20% more, sometimes more, just depending on how much trading is going on with that coin. So just taking into consideration slippage, just something me and Clone Tech have already talked about. So I just want to make sure I keep that in there early. Because like I said, as we draft, the coin to buy tonight might cost us $30, but on the master node worth it might be $25. So we'll just keep that in mind for future reference. And then also, obviously we have the ability to manipulate our master or VPS, excuse me. And so, if I want to stack, 7 master nodes on one, hope, cross my fingers, hope I don't crash it. That's something that I can do, or I can set up 5 different nodes and VPSs and manage that way. So we've got some freedom to kind of take our own little unique approach to it. So hopefully that kind of covers some of the intangibles there.
Yeah, sounds good. And I would echo not being an expert. I have only run a handful of nodes and have had mixed results, but I guess really the worst of the results drove me to take a totally different approach here. So my approach is way more data driven than what it was before. So I'm excited to test it out and see if I can lose my money this way now too.
And before we hop into it, most of you or some of you have probably listened to my podcast at some point in time, and I may mention a clone tech, and we both make the disclaimer: we're not experts in this. This is not financial advice by any means, but I've learned a ton from this dude, just about how to not fly by the seat of your pants in crypto. Although I still do that a lot. But like you mentioned, he's very data driven. I can't even ask him a question without, I wonder how I can put this into an Excel document and get all the data that I need out of it. And it's a great kind of a great thing. So, take this with a grain of salt. This could be disastrous for both of us, but it'd definitely be a learning experience for everybody that keeps up with it.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm excited that just like the strategies that I'm using have matured so much. It was pretty willy-nilly in the beginning, and this feels more legit. So we'll see. I'm excited to give it a test.
Cool, man. Well, I guess I do a little screen share here as I get rolling. Now, just so everybody knows, we were trying to decide how we were going to do the first pick, and of course, we had to make it football oriented. And instead of taking an easy pick, Baylor versus West Virginia, we decided to go with a little bit of Georgia Southern versus Appalachian State last night. And luckily, I know a little bit about both those teams, and I chose Georgia Southern to take the win, and they did. So I get first pick.
Called the upset. Coach was the gracious host and offered me the first pick, and against my better judgment, I said, "Hey, let's place a bet of the first pick on a football game where the coach obviously knows a million times more than I ever will." So that was a great strategy move on my part. But
all right, cool, man. Well, if you want to let me go ahead and flip my screen here, and then
switch you on.
Cool. All right, let me get to my screen share here. I'm a little bit of a novice in some of this stuff, so let me get it. Is that it? Did I destroy everybody's screens?
That's my favorite part of the screen share, the cascading windows.
Okay, cool. Are we looking at nationals online?
Yeah, it looks good.
Okay, cool. So, before, as we get a little bit later in the draft, I probably won't be as vocal about what's going on. But at this very moment, I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about my strategy, and then like I said, here as we pick the second and third picks, I won't have to be as detailed. But I'm on Master Nodes Online now. Clone Tech has done some really good stuff to provide some information, a little bit more handily. And I'm not going to tell all his secrets or anything like that, but this is a decent way to start. Okay, so the first thing that I'm doing is I am categorizing by master node worth, and there's only one reason I'm doing that is simply because we're keeping this thing under $100. So that's got to be my first thing that I'm keeping up with is the value. And I don't want to take a one master node approach, so I'm going to probably start looking at things under about $50. And so that puts me here in this range. Right, like I said, I'm only using master node worth simply because we're trying to keep this under $100. Normally, I would not even really touch that until the last thing. All right, so looking around in this general area, the next thing that I'm trying to look at is I'm going to look at the volume. A lot of people want to look at the return on investment, but you can find a really high ROI, like this one, for instance, about 1,000 almost, but it's only $68 a day getting traded. And so good luck selling your master node back ever if you want to. And then number two, good luck selling your your rewards on a daily basis. In 6 days, not bad. I'm sure that's paying out a decent amount to where you can maybe sell it off every day and make a profit. But uh, that's something I'm gonna take into consideration. So it's volume. Now I'm gonna kind of show you some coins here. Like I said, so this is a little bit of a learning experience that would be a good potential pick, but I might have crossed off my list for a particular reason. So, car buyers, I had this master note probably about 2 weeks ago, and it, as Clone Tech called me, Coach Midas, it did skyrocket for whatever reason, and I sold it off. But with that being said, here in about 3 or 4 days, the collateral was going to double. All right, so I don't want to pick this node and then all of a sudden I'm all excited about the high ROI, the good volume, and then heck, I need double that. So that's not going to be an option. So these are kind of things that you find out by going to the particular coin and then visiting their Discord, going through their Twitter, and always making sure that it's on markets that you know and trust and that you have an account on and all that kind of stuff. And go through the website and we're not going to do as much of that kind of detailed things and making sure it has a use case and all that kind of stuff. I know Clone might. I'm not going to do as much as that, but it's important to make sure that you understand exactly what you're kind of getting yourself into. Because last thing you want to do is be excited about this coin, pay 88 cents a day, 3 days, your node shut down because you don't have enough collateral. And that would happen if I didn't kind of go through that little talk there and didn't do my homework beforehand. So, anyways, sorry for the long drawn out first pick, Clone. So, anyways, for my first pick, though, I kind of found a coin here. Of course, I don't see it. I'm sure the price has just skyrocketed on me. Where is it at? Oh, man. Okay, let me type it in. So, I found a coin here that I had a little interest in. And it did shoot up on me. It was $49 last night. So, oh, man, that's tough, man. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and stick with this one though because you know it's been alive since June, which that puts it about 4 months. So that's something that's important. It's good volume. Getting traded on every day. It's on Crypto Bridge, which is something I have account on. I have a couple master nodes getting paid out to that, so it's something I know how to use and feel efficient with. A little under 50 cents a day. And then this is something that I personally look at, and I'm not saying this is really good advice because I don't know if it is or not, but sometimes when that coin is 69, 70 cents, something like that, there's a good chance it could be 60 cents, 50 cents the next day. When it's lower, if this drops down to 4 cents tomorrow, that just doesn't hurt as bad, in my opinion. So that's just something I kind of look at too. Sometimes I do like some of the coins with the lower price, and not a huge collateral, which means I hopefully don't have to dip too far down into the order book. Sometimes that doesn't matter, but that's going to be my first pick here. So, Clone Tech, you want to go ahead and dock me off $57 off the top?
All right, 42.50 something to go. Yeah, so I'm going to switch over and I'll put my screen up and then show a little bit about what I did to figure this stuff out here. I think that's the place to be. So yeah, as Coach mentioned, I am a spreadsheet junkie. So pretty much the last few months in my life of crypto has been us bouncing questions off of each other, and it generally leads to some sifting through order books or charts or mining pools or whatever. And ultimately, the end of the day will be me diving into a new spreadsheet project. So this is one that I'll share over on my BitTube channel at some point, but it's pulling live data from masternodes online. And what I like about that is it makes it a little more sortable. And if you've seen the Mint Nodes site, it gives it a little more of that feel where you can kind of hone in your range of ROI or coin age or masternode value or whatever. So one of the things that came out of that project is a ratio that I've been using a lot. And of course, it's a ratio that's born out of disaster because one of my first master nodes was a really high ROI. And after I was into it and watched the price kind of slowly bleed out over the course of a few months, looking at the numbers, there just was not exchange volume to support masternode payouts. So, to whatever degree you think people may be dumping coins on a daily basis just to take their profits, like the exchanges, there was not enough going on there to basically to support that. So we started looking at the ratio of exchange volume versus the total payouts. So that's basically the number that you see on masternodes online for your daily USD payout times the number of existing nodes. Um, and I've come to like the high ratios there. And I can't say the top 10 that we're looking at there. Don't know how great a lot of those are. Obviously, Dash and Ether One are pretty well known. I don't know that I know anything about the other ones. But if you follow that ratio over time, it's a pretty good indication of how many buyers and sellers there are out there. And for the example that I referred to as a disaster, there was a lot of sellers and not a lot of buyers, and that's just like downward pressure on the price over and over again on a daily basis. So that was one of my big things. Is I wanted something with a pretty solid ratio there of exchange volume to total payouts, and then from there, looking at obviously, you want an ROI that makes it worthwhile, a masternode worth that's in the range that's going to make sense for this contest. A number of nodes, I think, is an interesting thing, along with like coin age, to try to figure out how stable of a coin you're going to be getting yourself into, or is this a fresh thing that appears on masternodes online with a 2,000% ROI and looks really great, but then every day there's 10 new nodes and all of a sudden the price is tanking and the ROI is tanking at the same time. So I think those things both went in, and then not a technical analyst by any stretch, but I looked at all of the charts of coins that were in consideration. This was probably my second step in trying to whittle down a list, and was just looking for coins that looked like they had bottomed out and pretty basic, like accumulation support level kind of stuff, just to make sure you're not catching a falling knife when you're going towards a node here. So kind of a lengthy explanation of things that I was looking at in terms of trying to narrow down a list. But for my first pick, I'm going to snag the advanced technology coin, which has been hovering around a $12 node. Can't say for certain my strategy on that. It may be to put 2 or 3 of those together. But that's number one pick for me.
Okay, cool. And so just for clarification, you might continue to build on the arc one. Are you drafting 3 right now at this moment, or you come back to it?
So maybe we need to work out a rule clarification. I thought the draft gave me the rights exclusively to advanced technology coin, whether I want to run one of them or 8 of them.
Touche.
Is that your understanding, or do I need to stick with one and redraft if I want more?
Yeah. Okay. So let me ask this. This is great stuff for the draft. So you pick that as a coin. Now you can't pass this $100. You can't bring in other money and buy more, right?
I am not. Yeah, I am limiting myself to the $100.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, then that's good. You can do whatever you want. Then I was just making sure it wasn't like, okay, I'm gonna bring in other money and buy more. Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely hard capped at around 2 Litecoin that I have set aside for this project. So unless that thing doubles up tonight, I have a hard limit there.
All right, cool, man. All right, well let me hop on over here. And as I mentioned to you guys, let me give you the cool screen here. Am I sharing?
I need to switch you on, sir.
Okay.
There we go.
All right, cool, man. Well, as Clone Tech has mentioned, he kind of took a different approach there and went with a very, very, very good pick in terms of um, how much trading is happening with that coin versus the payout. And that's what I was talking about. The dude's a genius. So he created a spreadsheet that puts him in a pretty good position. And so I'm not feeling very, very excited about my next pick after seeing that. But I'm gonna go with something that's right around the same price range, at least when I checked last. Obviously, we saw what happened with my first pick. That it jumped up
Soon,
about $10 on me.
soon as they're
Um,
on your watch list, somehow the word gets out and they start pumping.
yeah, so I got one that has definitely popped out here on me, and I've seen it around a little bit. I spent a little time in the Discord prior to this just to make sure everything was pretty clean for the most part. Um, and I'm gonna look right here at the Gossip coin. Okay, um, that price is a little scary because it's well below a penny. And that could definitely raise some red flags. But there's good volume. There are people that's trading it. It's a relatively active community. When I dive into this a little bit more tonight, I might find out that the coin's about to die here, and so hopefully that's not the case. But uh, in terms of time, it's been the coin age, as Clonetech mentioned, it's been around since May 10th. That's not ideal. But that is enough time for me to feel pretty comfortable with not a ton of masternodes just hopping on. Clearly, you're seeing a lot of people joining masternodes, and then they're either forking, they're changing the collateral, they're doing something different here every couple months. So clearly, that's going to be something I have to keep my eye on. Um, but I'm gonna go ahead and roll with it just real quick, just to kind of show you guys a little bit about slippage. Because, like I said, I'm taking this one at this price right here. But the reality of it is, if I come over here to Gravix uh, and I go to their exchange and I want the collateral for Gossip Coin is 20K. Um, you know, at that price, 10 satoshis. Um, 11. I'm still not at 20K. I'm still not at 20K. All right, then I start getting close, and so I like this one because the slippage is not ridiculous. I'm gonna end up paying, you know, 2 satoshis more per coin, and I'm gonna be buying quite a big amount. But slippage is not too rough on that. But like I mentioned, there was a couple coins there that I was rolling through, and the slippage was just outrageous. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll with that one, and please wish me luck because I think I'm gonna need it.
You heard it here first. Gossip coin 4x overnight guaranteed.
What does that put me at there, clones? Hey?
Oh, for your total,
Yeah. What do I got left to play with? So I'm just blowing money on bad coins.
I have lost track of that already. I should be taking better notes. But yeah, no. I guess my assumption is that we're probably drafting a little bit over the salary cap and leaving somebody on the bench. So, was it 13 and 57?
Yeah, 1358. So I'm sorry. I'm very capable
And
of
the other one was
leave that on you like that. All right, I'm at $71. Okay. Yeah. I'm with you too. Been able to have kind of one off the bench. So uh, cool.
all right. Let me get over to the right place here. I'll switch myself as presenter and kick on a screen share. Won't have as lengthy of an explanation of the next one. It's a coin that I wasn't familiar with until diving into the research. Kind of came to like it. It's 0 1.
No.
Oh, I stole one off his board.
Oh, God dang it.
So 0 1 coin. As I looked at it, I kept reading and just thinking like this seems pretty solid. So things that jumped out there. Um, ROI at over 200% is it's kind of crazy to me that we live in a world where like 6% ROI is good or 10% is great or whatever. And then 214, I'm like, it's a little low, but I guess it's okay. But yeah, a pretty solid age and number of nodes. And I guess I know it's really small market cap, so I'm assuming that's why it was kind of under the radar for me. But seems like it's going to be pretty stable in terms of age, number of nodes, and then just a quick look at the chart where it's not still on the 2018 downslope here. I don't know if I have much else to say about it. I remember from reading about it that it's definitely a community-driven project, so hopefully that bears out to be the kind of thing where you've got a small coin with a pretty fiery community behind it, and yeah, I'm interested to see where that one goes.
Cool, man. Well, I guess I'm back up here, and you absolutely just stole my third pick.
Oh man.
So, well, that definitely puts me in a rut, but I think I got a good backup plan here. Am I on the main screen here?
I'm sorry, I'd clicked away to get set up for the next one.
Okay.
Looks like I'm still.
All right. Let me hop on over, share my screen for you guys. All right.
Glad I didn't get clicked over to my draft board while I was still presenting, so you could poach my next one.
Yeah, that would be my plan since you just got me from mine here. All right. So, yeah, man, I'd share this with you. This was one I was really interested in and this was something I like way outside of my realm of thinking. Normally, just I never heard of the coin. I visited the website; it was all in Russian, and didn't understand anything.
Saw a couple of those last night. You might be getting your revenge here.
And yeah, I'm just showing this one. Now, the thing that was funny was, let me just for people to kind of see the process a little bit. It didn't have a Discord, which was tough for me because I don't like Telegram too much. I want to be in the know because so much stuff happens, so many updates happen with your master nodes where you have to, go and remove a file from your VPS or something like that. And so I wasn't a fan because it wasn't on Telegram. I do have the translate option. So before the update version 3.0, so something's about to happen in 3 days, and I don't know exactly what it is. I just didn't feel comfortable with that. So, anyways, not to show you why I'm not picking that, but that was something that caught my eye. I was feeling pretty fired up about it. You can get 60 cents a day, but that ran off my radar pretty quickly. So, anyways, it kind of moved to my point here. I think I'm under about 29 bucks. So I better go and scroll on down here. I'm gonna go with a master node that personally I already have, so it's kind of cheating a little bit, but they won't intersect in it at all by any means. I keep them separate, but this is a master node I already have. It's Desire. And if you guys get a chance to glance back at CloneTech's sheet, uh, the daily payouts in comparison to the volume is really, really good. I think it was one of those coins that was in the top 10, if not right there, 11 or 12. And so it's been running for a while. I think the coin age is really good. It's been around for almost want to say years, or at least 1 year. I think it's almost just past his birthday. So it's been around for a while. Steady Eddie. ROI is 125. I know that's not great. But at least I don't have to worry about it crashing on me because I am worried about potentially one of these other ones I picked already crashing on me. And so I'm gonna roll with that one and see if the combination of the payout consistency and the exchanges that they're on, if I can kind of corroborate some of those other payouts and maybe find a good new node to build on Crypto Bridge to help add on. Because as we mentioned, as long as I don't pick another master node from CloneTech's pick, I can continue to build on them. So that's going to kind of be a little bit of my strategy is to kind of push all these to Crypto Bridge and Gravix and see kind of what I can build.
Nice. You were right on. It was number 15 on the volume to payout ratio from the master sheet over there.
Sweet.
right. So my next pick, another coin that was under the radar until I started diving into things, and I guess I don't know if I have a lot of analysis on it, but I would say that this whole process really struck me for how difficult it was to be narrowing in on really like a list of 10 things that you would either want or be okay with, just to be kind of prepared for the draft snatching scenario that just happened a little bit ago. Um, so the next one is pretty interesting. It's Zuma coin. So I guess shout out to my son who's obsessed with Paw Patrol. It's one of the characters on that show that's like on at our house around the clock. It's spelled differently, but still counts. This one's actually a decentralized database layer, which for my daytime career is kind of an interesting concept. I need to read more about it because blockchain in general is kind of a decentralized database. So what exactly are the use cases that they're envisioning here with a decentralized database layer on top of a decentralized database layer? But it looks like it has some SQL interactions and some other interesting things like being these are kind of IT terms, but fault tolerant, DDoS resistant, stuff like that. That was the one that kind of jumped out where it's kind of an interesting use case. But a lot of the other stuff held true where the ratio was okay. There's not a ton of daily volume, but it's pretty small coin. So XMX Zuma is where are we at? Number 3.
Sweet. All right. Well, I'm at $90. So what I'm gonna do is you can probably have 2 back-to-back picks because you were a lot smarter about your picks. But I'm gonna go ahead and close up my picks because I don't want to go over 100. I kind of want to be able to play all my coins here.
Okay.
I want to be able to put them all on one VPS. So I'm gonna make my next pick. So with a $5 VPS, that puts me kind of right here on the edge. But I'm gonna roll with this coin now. Here's the big red flag. When I was looking at this yesterday, that was going to be. Am I sharing? Or am I on right now?
Did I make you? Yeah, you're a presenter, so your screen is
All right, sweet. Okay, but yeah, so that big red 55%, that could and should be a red flag for me. But for $7, I'm gonna take the gamble for the crazy ROI. For the payout, I mean that's not bad volume. It's less than what was yesterday, obviously, but I'm gonna kind of roll the dice on this one here just a little bit, just because the ROI is ridiculous. There is volume. There's a decent amount of nodes. I spent some time in the Discord. Now, people are complaining because of the price, so they're active. It's not happily active, unfortunately, but you see the price dips here. The coin age isn't very long. So it'd be interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and roll with this one though.
Catching a bargain. All right. So for my 4th pick, this one I've actually heard about, even though it's super small market cap. I'm gonna go with Arenium, which is $12 node. The volume is not great compared to the daily payouts. ROI is sitting just under 300%. There's a lot of nodes, 721 nodes, and coin's been around for 6 months or so. So hopefully that proves to be an interesting one and an okay one. But that one out of all of them is the one where even though the chart looked okay, kind of looked like one that could have a bleed going on. So we'll see how that goes. But for $12, I can, I guess, stand that risk. I think this was one of them. There were a couple of, given that we're on the Proof of Work podcast here, there's a couple of coins that had kind of a motto that felt pretty anti-mining. There's a lot of like energy efficiency, sustainability kinds of things where like researching coins for the Proof of Work podcast where they're pretty openly anti-mining in their like main mission. So I'm not sure if that was one of them, but I know like that's in the notes that I took on actually what the coin is with reducing the burden on the world resources. No need, definitely no need for miners and huge electricity consumption. So
Wow.
interesting that we're mining our proceeds and spinning them into a coin like that.
Right. Yeah. Just to throw it out there, I messed around with Bitcoin Green just a little bit, which is so anti-mining. But it was I was helping somebody with a project. I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. I definitely don't agree with it, but it doesn't hurt to hang around a little bit.
So are you at this point out of picks, or do you have one more round?
I am out of picks.
All right.
I'm hanging it up.
Calling it a day on that one. I have one last one, and this is a total irrelevant pick because it's a free agent, so I could just pick it up without picking it. But just took a total flyer and sorted coins by highest ROI, which is a terrible idea. Don't do that. It's not a good investment thesis. But I wanted to find something with like a totally bananas ROI that was affordable. So just as an experiment in seeing what actually happens. It turns out that the one I landed on where other than being a totally bananas ROI, actually didn't check out all that badly. It's still not one of them that's great in the ratio that we keep talking about, where the daily volume is about half of what they're paying out to master nodes. ROI is a cool 35-30. So I think it's something like, I don't know what that works out to be. That's, I think, under a week before you potentially double up. But yeah, $2 node. What's interesting about this one is two things that are really interesting. It's a dating app built on blockchain,
Oh, wow.
which I happily married. I'm not getting into this one to try to test drive the product or anything. But I thought that was kind of funny that this is one potential use case, and they made an okay case about securing people's data and I guess some of the benefits to having the token for as a substitute for a subscription service kind of thing. The other thing that was bananas about this, I think I used the word bananas to describe this coin about 15 times, but somehow on the exchange, there's just like stacked up buy orders and not very many sell orders. So I don't know, this thing might end up exceeding my salary cap before I get to it, but that one's called Glino, which is kind of an awful name, but officially on my roster.
Oh man, I'm trying to pull it up real quick. How do you spell it?
Glyno, and it's the full thing is in the ticker. You can do a screen share on.
Oh man, 16 cents a day. How about that? Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Living the life, 16 cents off your $2 every day.
Oh man, well, that's awesome. Well, that wraps it up, man. So there it is.
Sorry.
Wow, no, 16 cents a day. Corrects 24. I'm gonna keep up with that one. I'm just gonna watch that one because that could be a really good steal, or could be just a waste of $2.
Maybe I'll do 50 of those and just go all in. See what happens.
Oh man. Well, kind of close it up. So essentially, what we're gonna do is tonight we'll sit down and plug these things in and hopefully get them up and running. I'm sure one of us will run into a headache somewhere, but hopefully it's pretty clean. And then we'll check back with you within the next week or two. Just kind of let you guys know what we've done, whether that's potentially just dropped it or maybe have built enough up from rewards to create another one, or put two of them on the one IPv6 and maybe just try some different strategies. So this should be fun, and I'm really excited about this because it's I wouldn't normally probably never pick some of these, but a lot of them did kind of cross. They check the boxes, and that's what's important. So hopefully you guys learn a little bit, at least how to look at master nodes the right way. Like Clonetech, he said on a couple of them, like he normally wouldn't do that for that last pick. That Cat6, I normally would never pick that just because it's looks a little volatile. But it'd be interesting to see. It's been fun kind of hanging out with Clone Tech here for today, and I'm pretty sure we'll be talking some football here over the weekend, and now we'll be talking some smack about our master notes. So that should be some new dynamics.
Yes, sir. Yeah, definitely with the $100 constraint, it made things interesting.
Oh yeah,
Definitely diving into way smaller cap stuff than what I thought. I think it'd be a totally different experiment. Maybe next year's version of this draft when we do $1,000 instead of $100 is a
yeah.
totally different slate. So
It would, it'd probably be a lot more, noteworthy coins, coins that people have heard of a little bit more than some of these, like you said, small cap coins and
yeah,
newer projects and all that kind of stuff. So
mm,
it'd be interesting. Hopefully we can, like I said, maybe turn this into our $1,000 that we'll use next time.
that's the plan. This is there's definitely 4 or 5 gems on our list. I'm confident.
Oh yeah, I keep my fingers crossed that they're not all on yours. All right, man. Well, that was awesome. So we will be back here next week or so, and look forward to catching you guys up.